Hey media students, in the last video I showed you how to lip sync your puppet. In this video it's time to put all our animations together and to create this completed animation. So what you need to do is you actually need to get a webcam and plug that into your computer, and we're going to use our webcam to animate our character. Now before we start doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my character back in the middle of the screen so I can see the whole body. So I'm going to change the position back to 0, and I'm going to change this position back to 0, and I'm going to change the scale back to 100%. Now what you want to do is you want to plug in your camera and turn your camera on. So I'm going to press the camera button right here and my camera will turn on. So this is the webcam that I'm using at my desk. And you can see now that when I turn my head and twist, my character kind of twists. When I blink, my character blinks. When I raise my eyebrows, he raises his eyebrows. And if I talk loud enough or open my mouth, he'll talk too. The problem we have is that our character is kind of swaying back and forth. So I'm going to turn this off for a second, and we're going to go back and fix just a couple things in the rig. We're going to go to rig, and what you need to do here is click on your entire character right here where it says Mohawk Man. And you might need to zoom out. I need to zoom out to make this work. And you're going to take the origin of your character and you're going to put it down between his feet. This is where I want the computer to kind of keep track of where the Mohawk Man is standing. The other thing I'm going to do, and again be clicked on the whole character, is I'm going to use this pin tool right here. I'm going to pin his feet like this. So I'm going to put a pin in each foot. This essentially pins him to the ground so that he can't move. So if I go back to record, and I turn my camera on now, and I sway back and forth, he should kind of sway back and forth, but his feet should stay in the same spot. So I'm going to turn that back on. And now as I kind of sway back and forth, he kind of stays back and forth. If I wiggle a little bit, his tie is dangling. Everything looks good. So I'm going to turn this off for a second, and now we need to start building our recording. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the timeline cursor is all the way back at the beginning like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to record parts of this at a time. The first thing I'm going to record is my character's eyes. So I'm going to press record, but I'm also going to get ready to press B on my keyboard, and I'm going to use the keyboard arrows to record my character's eyes. I could do this with the webcam, but I like a lot of control when I'm recording, and I feel like I'm better at making him blink when I want him to blink by pressing the B button and making his eyes go where I want them to go with the arrow tool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on Mohawk Man. I'm going to press record, and it's going to give me a countdown. And while it's playing, I'm going to just animate his eyes. So I'm going to press record. So maybe I want him to blink now. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef. And I'm going to press stop. So I recorded that, and now you can see there's a track called triggers, and this is his left blink. I made him blink here and here. All right, and if I didn't like that, if I didn't like the way he blinked, I could actually turn that, I could delete this and do it again. So I'm going to delete this. Let's delete his blinks. So I'm going to click on it and delete it. I'm going to delete his right blink. It'd be weird if he only blinked on one eye. At the same time, I recorded his eye gaze. So I'm gonna record that, or I'm going to delete that too. And I'm just going to try again. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and hit record. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef. And so now I have those things recorded. Now this is where things just get a little tricky, and you just have to keep your workflow or what you're recording in mind. So now I am done recording his eyes. So I'm actually going to turn this off. I don't want to record his eyes anymore. So I'm going to turn that off. All right. And this time I'm going to record his arms. So I'm going to kind of drag his arms into place. So before we start here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this hand down because I don't want it there. And remember, for dragger, I left this to hold in place. When we start recording, I am just going to make this arm wave. I'm going to press record, I'm going to make him wave and bring it back down. So I'm going to hit record, and I'm only recording his dragger. Like we're not recording anything else. So I'm actually going to turn off the triggers too, because I don't want to record his blink. And I got to move his arm back down. So I'm going to press record.
What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef.
And so now if you look here in the track here, I have a dragger. So when I go back here, he waves.
What do you call a cow with no legs?
And then he tells his joke. So if I want to delete this, I could delete these and start over. Now you're going to start getting a lot of tracks here. So you just keep building your animation. I think the last step here is to record just his natural movement, like how I want him to move. So for this, I'm going to turn the camera on, and I want to make sure I'm looking straight at the character, like I'm looking at him in the mirror, and I want to click Set Rest Pose. And you can see that it has like dots on my face where it's keeping track of stuff. Now, this is pretty important. We don't want to record the dragger anymore, so I'm going to turn that off. We don't want to record the lip sync. I don't want him to talk when I'm talking, so I'm going to turn that off. All I want him to do is record like my movement back and forth. So I'm going to hit record and just kind of just make sure he's not still.
What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef.
And so now you can kind of see that I have my character kind of animated. The part that I just recorded was the camera input on his face. So if you didn't like it, I can press delete. Now what's great about this program is that I can actually scale this up a lot. Let's go to like 300% and move him down to like this. And all my animations are still there. So here, he still does everything. I've just scaled it up. So I think that recording it where you can see the whole puppet really helps. And now we can kind of see my finished animation.
What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef.
And so that's how we would build our animation using the webcams.